2.
Welcome to the I-86 Green Room and the interview sessions. And of course, it's me, the Ginger Hammer. We've got Buffalo Bob here. And of course, our guest tonight is from the Buffalo Bills. And of course, he ended up being a former pro football player. He was with the Bills as a wide receiver. He also actually played college football for the Baylor Bears and was selected in the 6th round of the 1981 NFL draft. So today,
I'm just joking. Don't mention that 6th round stuff. I'm still pissed off about that 6th round. So anyway, Tom Brady was drafted in the 6th round. Tom Brady was drafted in the 6th round too. So I guess that's about it.
Good stuff. But today it is a pleasure to have the Radar, Robert Holt, here, and thanks for coming on. We absolutely appreciate having you here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure. And of course, one of the things we always love to do when our guests come on, we always love to ask, how did you get your start in football when you were younger?
Oh, man, I started playing football when I was in the 6th grade in Grand Prairie, Texas. A lot of people don't know where that is. It's a suburb outside Dallas. Excuse me. It's in between Dallas and Fort Worth. Usually when people ask me where I'm from, I say Dallas, because if I say Grand Prairie, they never heard of it. But anyway, I was in the 6th grade. Played, what was it, little city league? I think it's the YMCA. And I was a running back. That's the only year I ever played running back. And then I was in the 7th and 8th grade, played for a city team. We were the Packers, Grand Prairie Packers. And that's when I started playing wide receiver. When I was in 9th grade, I guess it was junior high school back then. They tried to get me to be a QB. We used to play football every day on the blacktop after lunch, and I always quarterbacked my team. The coaches were watching me, and I didn't realize it. And they tried to get me to play QB, and I quit the team a couple of times. My dad made a U-turn in the middle of the road, took me back, and they slid what they told me was a contract back then across the table and told me if I was going to quit to sign that contract. And I asked the coach, I said, well, where's the pen? I was stupid back in that day. But anyway, I realized looking back on it, that was probably one of the biggest mistakes I made. And I thank my coach even to this day. I tell him, you saw some of me that I was too young to even seeing myself. And I hate that I did not stick with it and play QB. They didn't have black quarterbacks back in that time, back when I was playing. That was like in 1974, 75, that time period. Like I said, when I was in 9th grade. And anyway, I tell people, I said, wide receiver is only as good as the person throwing you the ball, And back then, I didn't have the best quarterbacks in 9th grade. I don't think anybody could really throw the ball that well in 9th grade. Whereas if I'd have played QB, I would have had a chance to touch the ball every time they hiked the ball, and I could have ran and did all that stuff they watched me do every day on the blacktop. But like I said, I was naive, didn't see the big picture. But I like I said, looking back on, I appreciate those guys and the effort and what they tried to do, and that's one of my biggest regrets. One of my biggest regrets. Then I played in high school, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, played at Grand Prairie High School. Got drafted, had scholarship offers. Several of them chose to go to Baylor. And from Baylor, went on to get drafted by Buffalo, like I said, in the 6th round, which I'm still pissed off. But anyway, it's better to be pissed off than pissed on. So, but that was a joke, man. Y'all got to laugh at my
joke. I got you. Hey, it's a true story. It's a true story what you just mentioned.
But anyway, one thing led, like I say, ended up in Buffalo, and oh man, probably had the worst NFL career anybody ever got drafted. When I was at Baylor, we didn't throw the ball much, right? Mm-hmm. And I used to always complain. My junior year at Baylor, I caught. Now I'm gonna pose a question to you all. All right. Mm-hmm. Going into my senior year, I was voted the best wide receiver in college football in the state of Texas. All right, out of all the colleges in Texas, I was voted #1 receiver. That's going into my senior year. So how many passes do you think I would have caught my junior year to be voted the best receiver in the state of Texas?
Oh, God. I would probably say, oh, God, that's a really, stretchable question. I would probably think maybe under 1,000. That's my guess, under 1,000.
Not yards, catches. My junior year, how many catches do you think I had my junior year? Not yards, but catches.
Oh, God, I don't know. I have no idea.
Just take a wild guess.
5?
5 catches.
That's my guess.
Okay. You know what? Most people would say like, I don't know, maybe you call 50, 60 passes or whatever, 70. I don't know whatever. But actually, you the one you got close to anybody else. I only caught 8. I only caught 8 balls my junior. We didn't throw the ball a lot. And anyway, I was still, despite only catching 8 balls, I was still voted the best wide receiver. But anyway, what I was getting at is the 4 years I was at Baylor, I only scored 4 touchdowns because we didn't throw the ball that much. And I used to gripe about that. That's what, 1 touchdown a year, which is nothing really.
Right.
But then I got to Buffalo, and the 4 years I was injured out of the 3 years. The only year that I played was 82. We had a strike. We had 9 games. I played in 7 games. Ended up catching 4 passes. So in the 4 years I was in Buffalo, I used to gripe about only catching 4 touchdowns at Baylor. Then I go to NFL and only catch 4 passes the whole 4 years.
Wow.
If it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have had any luck at all. But anyway.
Yeah.
I guess God has another plan for me. And 2 of them were those 2 little ones you just saw walk out of here. So I'm good.
And you know what? Kids are always a great blessing for everybody too. And you can, absolutely.
I would not trade them for the world. And they told me I had to do it all over again. They said, but you're only gonna catch 4 passes, but you'll end up with just 2 quick. I said, all right, I'll take the 4 passes then.
Yeah, kids are a great gift, and it's just like when I had my niece and nephew over right after Christmas, and they love spending time here. They always like to say it over, and they're always like, "Hey, you're the cool uncle." It's like you let us do shit that we can't do in our house. And I know my nephew loves my big screen, so it's like, okay, you take the living room, my niece will take the spare bedroom. It's all good. So they have everything that they like there, and
there you go. That's what it's all about.
It is, and especially now with they're gonna be hitting their teenage years in the next year or 2, and it's good to have that, and plus my nephew is playing football now too, so getting to check out some of his games, it's really cool to see that, and and of course he loves defense, so that's what he wants to do.
He likes to hit people. The only thing now though, you can't hit anybody anymore.
I know it's not like back in that era, or even in the 90s, or even I remember one time Brady, I think his first or second year, and he got destroyed.
Can't do that anymore.
No.
You can't even run by them and sneeze. You sneeze at them and they pull out the yellow flag and throw it.
Yeah, it'll be like 15 yards. There you go.
Just imagine guys like Ronnie Lott. I don't know if y'all remember Ronnie Lott and Jack Tatum and those guys.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's how they made their name, And man, those guys would be handcuffed now if they had to get out there and play. They wouldn't be able to do anything.
Yeah, I'd even throw a name Reggie White out there too.
Reggie White,
Jack
Mike
Lambert.
Singletary. Yeah, Mike Singletary, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Mike and I were roommates at Baylor for 3 years. As a matter of fact, we got drafted the same year. He went to the Bears and I went to the Bills. I got injured and he didn't, and ... So anyway, he did good. Had a Hall of Fame career, did real well, and like I said, mine didn't go so well, but anyway, that's life, Keep your feet moving, keep moving.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. But I was actually going to name another player because you guys were naming like Ronnie Lott and all that. I was going to mention Jack Lambert.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember Steelers. We had 3 running backs. They got drafted off our team, too, at Baylor. We had Walter Abercrombie was the #1 draft choice for the Steelers. Greg Hawthorne, I don't know if y'all remember, he was #1 draft choice for the Steelers. Then we had another guy, Frank Pollard. I think Frank was a 12th round draft choice, but I think Frank probably had a better career than all 3 of them, as far as longevity and that type of thing. But we had quite a few of our running backs, like I said, they ended up playing for Pittsburgh. So, yeah, I remember Jack Lambert and those guys. Just keep up with them and watch them and idolize them before I got there and all that kind of stuff. So I remember those guys very well.
Awesome. And you mentioned Pittsburgh. We were down there at the end of November for that Sunday night game, or that Sunday afternoon game down there. So we were there for the Bills versus Steelers. Bills came back, won it, and it was our first time there. And one of our mutual friends, now he can claim he's 0-6 watching Steelers games in person. We had to razz him a little bit.
That's not a good record.
No.
Yeah, that's not good at all. But it's good that they're not 1-5. It's good that they didn't win that game against the Bills, right?
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely, and then of course, one thing I did want to throw in there. This is actually just a kind of question I'm thinking of now, but of course, you being out at the stadium here in Buffalo and being able to walk on the turf and experience everything. Of course, we just had our final game in that stadium this past Sunday. So,
Right.
what was it? What was it like when you
Oh
were
man.
going through that tunnel and going out onto the field? And what did you experience with the fans?
Oh, I love. As a matter of fact, I was there about a month ago. I went maybe a little over a month. Flew to Buffalo for the Saints game. I took my nephew. They had this deal going on where the players could come in and get a chance to meet some of the players and the coaches and all that kind of stuff. They gave us tickets to the press box and that type of thing. So I felt like that was a good opportunity to take my son, the one that just left, take him, and he got a chance to take a picture with the head coach and some of the players and those guys. So, we flew up there and stayed a couple of days and went to the game and then came back. But anyway, man, I'm gonna tell you this: it's nothing like it's that adrenaline or that high that you get. When come down the tunnel or you score a touchdown or something. It's professional football, and you're going up against the elite
Mhm.
and the crowds. The thousands of people that are in the stand cheering for you, da da da, and all that kind of stuff. When it's all over and done with, there's nothing. I talk to my buddies all the time. As a matter of fact, I was talking to Jared Butler about this just a couple of days ago, and we were just talking about how you don't get that anymore.
Mhm.
I mean, you have high moments in your life. You have, but to take it to that level, I mean, it's nothing like it. I honestly I can't even explain it. It's just it's nothing like it. And like I said, to actually score a touchdown, and national televised game. All your friends back home watching, all your relatives, your parents, and your aunts and uncles and cousins and all that kind of stuff. Nothing. It's not. I can't think of anything that compares to that.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's kind of kind of detrimental because guys chase that. Once their career is over, they chase that, and you don't get that anymore. And that's why a lot of guys fall into substance abuse and all that kind of stuff because they're trying to chase that high that they got on the football field. But you don't get that anymore. You have to accept reality and just say, hey, that was then. This is now. This is what I'm doing now, and make the best of your situation, whatever you're doing post professional career. So.
Yep. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what I was going to ask you before was, you've been playing football for a while, whether it's in Baylor or in the NFL with the Bills. You've gotten the nickname the Radar, and I
Yeah.
want to ask you though, because how did you even get that nickname to begin with, and did it stick with you in the locker room?
Man, actually, I got that nickname in 10th grade, playing JV football on the B team when I was in 10th grade. What it was, a lot of people thought it was for catching the ball, but contrary to popular belief, it actually has to do with blocking. My thing was crackback blocking. Our coach said keep your head on the swivel. If I caught you out the corner of my eye and you didn't have your head on the swivel, you might have well got you a big old black mark and wrote my name across your ass. Because I used to tell people, I said, I tell people, I said that ass belong to me because I try to put you up in the third, fourth row. But anyway, that was for crackback blocking, and it just stuck. And that's another one of my coaches who I'm endeared to. His name is Billy Mitkiff. He gave me that name back in, like I said, back in 10th grade, and even with him, I wish I could have got more mileage out of it, but anyway, like I said, things didn't work out that way, but that's what it's for. And I have to remember, like, who calls me Radar. I got like 100 different nicknames. And like when you call somebody on the phone, you leave a message or whatever you do, you have to remember what they call. Because I say Radar, and it's somebody I grew up with before I even started playing football, and they're like, who the hell is Radar? Or if I say Robert, and a lot of guys didn't even know my real name because they're so accustomed to call me Radar. So you have to remember all these different nicknames and what people call you and all that kind of stuff. So, so they know who you are. So, but that's where it came. It came from blocking, crackback blocking. Which you
Well,
cannot do
because
that. You can't do that anymore either.
Oh yeah, they took that out a while ago.
Yeah, you can't do that anymore. They would change my game too.
Absolutely, because what I was going to bring up before is that we actually interviewed John Davis, who was a lineman for those '90s teams in the with Glenn Parker and Mike Lodish and all those guys, and he has multiple nicknames because the
Yeah.
story that he told me and another guy we have, his name is Damien, and he told us the story was when he played for Georgia Tech, he was going up against William the Refrigerator Perry when he was playing at Clemson, and he got the nickname the Refrigerator Mover because, considered to his standards, he was the only lineman to ever legitimately contain William Perry. Because William Perry, he's a fucking monster, and the
Oh
guy
yeah.
is just going through linemen and just destroying them. John Davis was much, much smaller than him, and he was the only guy in the college level, I should say, to ever really contain him. And a lot of people said to him, "Oh, I don't know your real name. What's your real name?" It's like, "Oh, John." I'm like, "Oh, then
Right.
if I say,
Right.
the refrigerator mover, like, yep, I know who you are now."
Yep.
So
Yep.
it was a very
Right.
interesting concept.
Yeah. I'll tell you a funny story. You're talking about William Perry. We played against them when I was at Baylor. We played against them my junior year. Excuse me one second. We played against them my junior year. And we played, as a matter of fact, we played against them in the Peach Bowl. All right.
Mhm.
In Atlanta, Georgia. My senior year, we won our conference, the Southwest Conference Championship, beat everybody. We played against Alabama in the Cotton Bowl. They ended up beating us. But my junior year, like I said, we played Clemson. We beat them. I scored a touchdown that game, one of my 4 touchdowns. But anyway, when I was in Buffalo, the year after I got drafted, we had a receiver, Perry Tuttle, who was out of, well, Jared Butler was out of Clemson too, and Perry Tuttle. But Perry Tuttle was on that team. JB was, he was already in Buffalo. Perry Tuttle was on that team. We played against him. And the year after we beat them, they won a national championship. So he used to always bring up how they, beat everybody. They won a national championship. Da 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 da. So every now and then I had to remind him about his junior year when Baylor put that foot in their ass and kicked their ass. So he kind of bring it back down to reality.
Right. He
Like,
got
yeah,
humbled.
y'all won a national championship your senior year, but let's talk about that junior year when we met y'all down in Atlanta in that Peach Bowl. So, but he's a good friend. We joke a lot. We joke a lot about that. So yeah, but
Uh,
that's when you say refrigerator Raider Perry, remember, because he was on that team too. William Perry was on that team too when we played
Mhm.
them. So yeah.
Yeah, he was a sensational player. As I remember, the late Buddy Ryan, when the Bears
Oh yeah.
drafted him, had the audacity. I don't know if you ever saw that episode of America's Game. It was produced about, I want to say, 15 years ago, and they did an
Uh-huh.
episode on the '85 Bears, and they were talking about William Perry, and Buddy Ryan had the audacity to say that he was considered, quote, a wasted draft pick, and this wasted draft pick just end up becoming the refrigerator and ended up himself in Campton.
Yeah, but you know what though? I think Buddy Ryan. I did watch that, and I tell you the reason I did because, like I mentioned to you earlier, me and Mike Singletary, like I said, we roommates and well, sweet mates actually. And me and Mike, our senior year, like I said, we were two, first two that got drafted and went to the NFL. So I did watch, and then my actual roommate was Dennis Gentry. And Dennis Gentry was a running back for, I think when the Bears came down and watched Singletary, they saw Dennis. And then the next year, they ended up drafting Gentry in the 4th round. And he played up. He did real good. He had a good career, too. But I did I did watch it. But then you say that Buddy Ryan was, not only did I think he used that as motivation because Mike tells a story about, before he I guess acclimated himself. He tells a story about what Buddy Ryan, was looking at him and saying, "Hey, little short fat guy," because Mike wasn't 6 feet. That's one reason why he didn't go to the 2nd round. Should have been a number 1 draft pick. But and Mike would tell you how he ended up using that as motivation. He called him a little short fat guy. He said, "Look, first of all, he didn't know who the hell he was talking about." I see, shit, I know he ain't and not talking about me, but he actually was. And he probably the same thing, get those guys motivated, and same thing with a refrigerator, probably, you know, saying a little stuff, little negative stuff to him every night. Because coaches, they'll do that. We had a coach in Buffalo used to do the same thing, kind of mess with us a little bit, just try to get you going, get you motivated, get your adrenaline going. So sometimes it works, sometimes it did. But that's probably what Buddy Ryan was doing, using that as motivation, mess with him. So
Sure.
yeah.
Sounds about right.
Oh
Good
yeah.
stuff.
Sounds
Oh
about
yeah.
right.
Good stuff. And then of course, when you ended up coming to the Bills, you got to play under Chuck Knox's system.
Yep.
And how did you adjust from what you had at Baylor to what you had here in Buffalo?
Oh man, I was the first something that I don't think I ever adjusted to was the weather. That was number one. I remember when I was at Baylor one time, I coached Grant Taft. He took a skillet and had an egg in it. He put on the astroturf. It was so hot out there, the
Mhm.
it cooked. You know, the egg
Oh, I
fried the
bet.
skillet fried the egg because it's so hot on the astroturf. I mean, we would have water breaks, and rather than we had water hoses back then, and rather than the guys running over and trying to get a drink of water, you put the water hose on your sneakers, on your tennis shoes, because your feet were so damn hot. That's how hot it was. So I went from that to Buffalo. I don't think I ever made that transition. Man, it was, oh my God. We didn't have an indoor facility back then. So whenever if it started snowing or whatever, I mean, one time we went to practice, and man, it's first of all, it snowed so hard it covered my car. The only thing you could see was a piece of
Mhm.
the mirror, side mirror sticking out. I took a picture of it and sent it to my parents. I had an arrow on there. I said, "This is my car, right? That little piece of mirror." I couldn't even get in my car to call a taxi to go to practice. But it snowed so hard, man. It called practice off. I was a rookie, and I remember going in the
Mhm.
dressing room and started getting undressed and rolling hooks and Frank Lewis and some of those older veterans. They said, "What you doing, Rook?" I said, "Hell, I'm finna shower and go home." I thought practice was over. I thought practice was over with, right? So they said, "Oh hell." What they did, they took the snow plows and swept all the snow up against the walls. Man, Chuck Knox blew his whistle.
Mhm.
So all right, let's go. I said, "Oh hell no! I know we ain't supposed to get ready to go back." Oh man, it was so cold out there. I mean, we had those jerseys. Had the jerseys had little pockets in the front of them, right? And
Mhm.
I remember running deep routes. They throw your ball. Hell, my hands never left my pocket. I was like Allen Iverson. Hell, this is practice. I'm like, this too damn cold. It's too damn cold to be out here taking my hands out of these pockets trying to catch this ball. But anyway, as far as your question about offense, the transition, man, it was like for me, oh my God, I was in heaven. I was in heaven because, like I said, I went from Baylor where I ain't catch hardly any balls at Baylor. Like we were not a passing team. We were a run oriented team. Like I said, a lot of guys, three of our running backs went to the Steelers, and Gentry went to the Bears. We had guy Alfred Anderson went to the Minnesota Vikings. We have guy running backs all over the league, right? But
Mhm.
when I got to Buffalo, oh my God, man, they was throwing me so many balls. Not necessarily a game yet because I hadn't really worked myself into the starting lineup. I eventually did my third year there, last preseason game playing against the Redskins. I was number one receiver, leading receiver on the team. Da da da. That's supposed to be my year. I was 2 days away from signing a new contract. I was gonna get like a $200,000 raise, which was a lot of money back then. We played the Redskins on a Saturday. I got hurt on a Monday. I didn't get no more money. I was still broke. They were like, "Well, you can't play." I tore my anterior cruciate ligament tore, so that did me, and I missed that third year and the fourth year. My knee was still messed up and let me go. But man, I feel like I had died and gone to heaven prior to that because man, I was catching so many balls, and I was able to showcase my talent, my catching ability, my running ability. After the catch. I was at Baylor. I feel like the thing I showcased probably more so than anything else was my blocking, skills, which I didn't mind doing that. But it was. I love the transition. I love going from, because it's what you want. All receivers are divas, right? You want the ball.
Mhm.
Whether you open or not, you want the ball. You're gonna even if you're not open, you're gonna lie and say you were open. So, but I was getting the ball. I was getting the rock. Just I mean, all except for when it was real cold and I didn't want to take my hands out of my pockets. I was like, forget that. I don't want the ball today. Y'all can throw it to somebody else today. But other than that, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was good. It was good, man. It felt good. It just, like I said, came to an end too soon, But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And actually, your story about practice in the snow, it actually reminds me of when I was in high school, and I graduated back in '01. But it reminds me of a gym teacher I had. He was absolutely hilarious. And basically, what would happen? It didn't matter what time of year it was. You're going outside until at least the
Ah!
first snow,
No,
and that's what we would do. Is like,
no,
hey, throw a
no,
sweatshirt around or something. You're going outside till the first snow.
oh no. Where was
And
that at? Was that in
That was
Buffalo?
yeah. Actually, the high school I graduated from is Star Point, which is up in
Oh,
Niagara
okay.
County, just right outside that. It's right outside of Lockport,
Oh, okay.
and absolutely hilarious gym teacher. Though absolutely, a lot of people loved him, and he actually retired a couple years after I graduated. But great guy,
Oh, okay.
and but oh, that was like the biggest thing. We'd always be out till the first snow, and then sometimes they're like, "Holy crap, you got you got a little bit on the
Yeah.
ground. It's just warm
Yeah.
enough where you can go
Oh
out."
man,
So,
it was I was not accustomed. I remember when I got drafted. I really didn't know anything about Buffalo.
mm,
I don't think I've been. Yeah, we went to New York once. We played West Point when I was at Baylor. Went up and played them. But I mean, when you go up and play, you don't get a chance to get out and see the city and that type thing. You get there, you play the game, you get on the plane, come back. But I didn't know anything about New York really. Buffalo. Actually, I thought Buffalo was like I didn't know it was like different. I thought it was like in New York City. To be honest with you. But man, that was I remember they had all I remember was a Die Hard battery commercial that used to come on television all the time. I don't know if y'all remember that. But they showed this car that's stalled out in the snow,
mhm.
and they would say if your car, they put that Die Hard battery in there, they say if this battery can start your car in the snow, it can start it anywhere. And that's all I
Yep.
knew. I was like, well, damn, either that's a good ass battery or yeah, I mean it just gave you perception. It was just like freezing
Mhm.
in Buffalo. That's
Right.
all I knew about Buffalo. So I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, But you know what though, man? I tell you this. First of all, like I said, I was a little disappointed going to the 6th round. I was projected to go higher than that.
Sure.
I was also upset about going to Buffalo because I'd already picked, and most guys do. You pick out teams where you want to go, right? One of them
Mhm.
was Dallas because I'm 15 minutes from Dallas. I said that way my parents can come see me every weekend, every other weekend or whatever.
Yeah.
My
Nice and
family can
easy
come
right
watch.
home.
Yeah. That, and then you pick out some warm climate teams. You want to go play for a Florida team, California team, whatever. So you kind of have teams picked out in your mind where you want to go, and kind of teams where you don't want to go.
Mhm.
But as a result of me going to Buffalo, man, I'm still friends with some of the best guys walking around on the face of this earth. You know, me and Jared Butler. When I got married, Jared Butler was the best man in my wedding, and when he got married, I was the best man in his wedding. And me and him, just real tight with each other, and we have like this Buffalo Bills thread that we still have. Well, all of us, a lot of the guys, we still stay in contact with each other, and we, wish each other happy birthday. As a matter of fact, Joe Creel's birthday was yesterday. Got him on there, wished him a happy birthday and
Hey,
everybody. Got some.
happy belated birthday.
Oh, the Joe? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I met some of the best guys, some of the best human beings, whatever that you'll meet, and I'm still friends with them. So I'm thankful. I'm
Yeah.
thankful that I did, have the opportunity to play in Buffalo. Uh, and you mentioned Chuck Knox earlier. I remember sitting in the locker room and looking around the locker room and looking at guys like Conrad Doble and Lawrence McCutcheon, Reggie McKenzie, the Electric Company, and all these guys, Frank Lewis, who had played with the Steelers, and man, it was just, I used to be in awe at first, because as a kid, I'd watch these guys on television playing professional football, and then it's like now I'm sitting here in the same locker room with these guys, so it took, you're starstruck at first. It takes you a little while to get beyond that and realize, hey, they're just regular people just like everybody else. But like I said, man, I met some of the best guys walking around on this planet. So I don't have any regrets. I'm good.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome. And yeah, and I will tell you, we all had one last shoveling out of the old stadium this past
Y'all
weekend.
did y'all go did y'all go out there? Did you go?
I didn't.
So
I didn't do shit. I'm in Long Island, so
yeah. Now I'm in Buffalo. I did try to go out to it. I wasn't able to get in because they
Wow,
had
I
too
thought
many.
they I thought they was letting everybody in.
No, they said volunteers are not guaranteed. Basically, if you just go out there. But I was ready. I had my shovel in my SUV, and I'm like ready
Right.
to go, all dressed
Yeah.
up in like multiple layers and all that. So, but it was one of those things where I can remember some of the snow games I've been at, and actually one of the snow games that kind of sticks out to me was back in the mid 2000s when we played the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it was Rex Ryan's last game before he got fired. I
Okay.
remember that one.
Okay.
But we had some pretty good snow during that. Then, of course, there was the game we played against the Indianapolis Colts where you couldn't see the field. and then
Right.
there's been some other ones. Then flip it a little bit to the beginning of the season. Me and Bob actually went to a home opener where we ended up playing the Cincinnati Bengals. We actually accidentally scorched some guy's lawn with our portable grill, and it was about 93 degrees out at kickoff time. So
Yeah.
so we
That's
ended up
good
having
stuff.
we had the hot weather for a change, but no, just so many good memories of that stadium. But
Oh
what
yeah.
I can say is, I don't
Oh,
miss the original AstroTurf because that stuff was nasty.
yeah.
Then on top of it, I will say the stuff they have now. Actually, in May, I actually got to walk across the 50 because I was actually an extra in Holiday Touchdown of Bill's Love Story. So I was actually at the stadium
Okay.
for filming. And I will say, being a fan in the stands was awesome, but being able to actually be on the field, there's nothing like it. There is
Oh,
nothing like it.
that I agree with totally too. I'm trying to jot down some notes, some stuff I want to tell you about before I forget.
Yeah, of course.
But anyway, you talking about the AstroTurf? We had uh, hold on one second. Yeah, anybody's on that? Okay,
Yeah,
you had the AstroTurf. You
yeah, literally the
man,
carpet right on top of concrete.
I saw a lot of guys get serious injuries on that AstroTurf. Excuse me, because of the type of turf that it was. So I'm with you on that one. That turf was nasty. I remember we had one guy. I don't know if you remember Mike Mosley. Mike Mosley was
Yeah,
a hell of a
sure.
football. Mose, yeah, we just running in practice one day, and he went to cut playing on the turf, and next thing you know, he got it tore his knee. He was out for the whole season. He actually led the league one year in kickoff. They had us back there running back. He was a quarterback at Texas A&M University. He's called us the Texas Connection. Mike led the league. I think the year of the strike, '82. He led the league in kickoff return. He averaged like about 30 yards a return. But when I was in Buffalo, like I said, for the Saints game,
Yeah.
it was this guy. I had my son, and they had all the security. They wouldn't let you go here and da. So it was a guy in a pickup truck drove through there, and I said, he's sitting over there parked. And I said, you know what? I don't even know who the guy was. I'm gonna go over here and see if this guy can get us in the state. I went on my side. I said, I flew all the way from Texas to Buffalo. I at least want my son to see the state. He's 11 years old. I want him to see the stadium. This guy happened to be the guy that designed the new stadium.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot his name, but he gave us a ride. He First of all, he drove us to the down to the old stadium, so my son got a chance to run out there on the field and run up the tunnel,
Very
down the
cool.
tunnel, and all that kind of stuff. And then the only thing we couldn't go in the new stadium at that time, but he was the guy because it was still under I don't know some kind of construction safety reasons or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's the guy that actually designed the stadium. He was telling me about all the amenities and all that kind of stuff, that he
Mhm.
put in there and and all that kind of stuff. So it was nice, man. It was nice. So
Yeah, and just seeing that go up, I remember actually back in 2023 when they called it the pit because they
the
had
pit.
everything all excavated out for the new
Oh,
stadium. And
oh,
they
okay.
actually, in some fans, when they were completely obliterated, would hop over the fence and end up. They had to actually have some people come in with rescue equipment to get them out just because
Ooh,
they weren't supposed to be in there hopping the fence. But
yeah.
but then seeing that stadium go up and just even some of the new videos I've taken a look at recently, it's just been really cool to see it. And with what they're doing, I love the fact finally for the first time and since the old rock pile days, we have
Yeah.
natural grass in the new stadium. So I'm
Right.
like,
Right.
finally, the real
Yeah.
stuff.
That
And
that'll be nice. That'll be. You
yeah,
know what? I wish they would have done. I wish they would have put a top on it like the Cowboy Stadium. I know all the people
yeah,
in Buff,
a
all
lot
the
of
people
people
where you
thought
can
that.
where you can open it, you can close it, open it, do whatever you want to.
Mhm.
But I know all the people in Buffalo, they don't want that. They're
Yeah,
accustomed to that snow and coming out there and help shoveling and getting ready for the game and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
a lot of people probably were
And
against that, but
yeah, a lot of fans were, but what they ended up doing is I think from what they said, like 65% or 70% of the seats are covered, so
oh,
there's not
okay.
going to be
Oh,
as
I
much
didn't
of
know
the
that.
shoveling that they'll have to do.
Okay.
But what they did with it is the canopy they put on, I guess, has the world's largest snowmelt system, supposedly. So
Oh, okay.
it can actually get rid of it pretty quick. The field's going to be heated at like 65 degrees. So it'll be able to get rid of snow fairly easily. And I know
Nice.
and then they also, from what I heard, with the seats, it's steep. It's like going to be super steep with how they have the decks. But they said the upper deck is like about 60 some feet closer to the field than it is in the current
Oh,
stadium.
okay.
So they
Okay.
really wanted it to be on top of each other and kind
Yeah.
of be some of like the older school stadiums. But that canopy, though, they said that's going to be even louder than the current stadium in some
Yeah.
ways.
It might not be a good idea putting them on top of each other. Them was some of the craziest fans, man. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we had a game one time, and man, this guy was so drunk, and he fell over the wall. He fell behind our bench.
Yeah.
He didn't have
Oh,
no shirt. He had
man.
no shirt on. He had no shirt. Looked like a big old walrus laying back on the ground. And still, and we came close to getting penalized because I can't remember if it was one of the special teams, kickoff return. Someone was supposed to go on the
Mm-hmm.
field, and one of the guys was supposed to be around the field. He was over there looking at this big walrus laying back there on the ground. You know, but that dude was sloppy drunk. But I remember one time when we didn't back then. If you didn't play, like I was on injured reserve 3 of the 4 years I was there, so I tore my quadricep muscle my first year, which I think was due to the weather, also the change in the weather from Texas to New York. But uh, if you were not on the team, if you're not playing, suit up for the game on injured reserve, whatever you sit in the stands. And I saw one of the worst fights. Dude sitting next to me, he was drunk. He didn't have no shirt on either. It was bad luck for dudes that didn't have no shirts on. But this
Mm-hmm.
dude, this dude was so drunk, the dude started punching him, and he dropped his hands down to his side. And the
Mm-hmm.
guy, oh my God, he must have hit him like 50 times. And the guy never brought his hands up to block the punch. And I was like,
Oh,
but
man.
that's how drunk he was. He never even could bring his hands up to, to block the.
Jeez.
I was like, these people. I was like, you know what? A lot of guys, you feel like you needed to get off injured reserve, make the team just so you could get down on the field, and because it was a lot safer on the field than it was up there in the stands with everybody
Oh, I remember some stories about some fights back in the day too up
Oh yeah,
there. It's not as bad now, although I have had beer dunked all over me before, and I remember this
yeah.
actually
What?
a few
Oh,
years
beer?
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were blowing out the Washington Commanders, and I got drenched by beer by a Commanders fan, and then of course they got thrown out not too long afterwards.
Well,
It's like, dude, I was like, I don't care if I get the beer bath, but don't do it next to a security guard that's gonna throw you right out.
right. Well, I'm glad you
Oh,
did that against the Redskins because, like I said, they were the Commanders now, but
yeah.
that was the team that ended my career. I think it was Mark
Oh yeah.
Murphy. Not a cheap shot or anything. He just caught me on a good shot, and just like I said, that was it. But back in I was trying to send y'all some video. I'm gonna send you a picture too.
Yeah, of
Uh,
course.
I sent you a picture of Rick James in the state. Rick James used to come to our games too. You know Rick from
I'm
Buffalo.
Ooh,
Rick
yeah.
James, bitch.
Yeah. we had
I'm
guys.
rich, bitch.
We had guys on the team that used to run with Rick. Oh man, that dude
Oh,
was.
nice.
I could tell you some Rick James. So that dude was wild. Oh my god.
Ooh,
Oh my
man.
But
god.
I got a picture of him and You remember Greg? You remember Greg Bell? You remember him?
Mhm.
He was the number one
I
draft
do.
choice. Yeah, he was number one draft choice out of Notre Dame. Got a picture of him and Rick sitting up in the state. Greg had sent it to me a while back. But when we get off, I'll send y'all some stuff, some memorabilia stuff, some
Yeah,
videos and
that's
Oh
pictures.
yeah.
And I'll
Th-
try to, excuse me, I'll try to hook y'all up with. I know JB will get on. I'll see if see if Creel, see if he'll get on here. But I know Jared Butler for sure get on. There's quite a few guys. Guys still like to be, not forgotten.
yeah.
So this gives you an opportunity to still let people know, you're still here and what you're doing in life now and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
guys don't shy away from that as much as people think. People think they don't want to be bothered, but a lot of guys they actually because once you're in that limelight and that limelight phase goes away, so it's good
Yeah.
to resurface every now and then, let people know what you're doing, and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always fun to talk to people that have been on the field or been on the ice or and so forth, just to kind of go over some of the great stories from back then and now and see how they're doing. And
oh yeah,
it's always fun to do that.
yeah,
It's always a blast.
yeah.
And and yeah, we absolutely appreciate it. We'd love to check that out.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I will. You got a lot of those guys that are doing well, doing businesses and that type of thing, doing real good. And then on the flip side, you got a lot of them that are not doing so good. You got a lot of health related issues and all that kind of. All of us getting up in age. I just had a kid ask me I'm a elementary school PE teacher. I was in education for 30. It's my 30th year. I was a assistant principal at two high schools in Grand Prairie. We had Grand Prairie High School and South Grand Prairie High School. And I retired in 2014, but I went back to work as a elementary school PE teacher because of my son. I wanted to be his PE teacher. Unbelievable athlete. This kid scored 9 touchdowns in one game one time. The one that
Ooh,
just left
nice.
out of here. Oh, yeah, he's crazy. He had a basketball game here not too long ago. They beat a team 38 to something. He scored 34 of the 38 points in the basketball game. So, but that's why I
Damn.
went back. I wanted to work with him, so I went back to be a PE teacher. And so that's what I'm doing now. But, got a lot of PE stories too. But anyway, I was in there what the kids there asked me. One of them asked me the other day, he's asked me how old I am. And I told him, I said, well, I'm not going to tell you how old I am now. I said, well, but I'll let you know how old I'm going to be on my next birthday. And I did the little.
Oh God,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no,
And they
no.
they 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 fell out laughing. So like I said, a lot of us are getting up in age. We getting on up in age, and a lot of us, like I say, some are doing well and some are barely getting around, barely moving, but we still here, so
Oh
it's all
God,
good.
the fact
Yeah.
you even did that, it's just like, oh my God.
Hey, I work with little bitty kids. I work with little kids, and that's all day
Right.
long. I hear this six,
Helps them
seven
understand.
all day, and not one of them can tell me what it means. So,
Right.
but anyway, that's
Yeah.
Oh man,
that's a whole
that's
nother
awesome.
story. That's a whole nother story within it. So I saw a comedian the other day on telly. He said, I can tell you what 6'9" mean, but he said, I don't know about that, or 6'8", you do me and I owe you one, but he said 6'7". I ain't figured that one out. I still have to figure
Right.
that one out. So, but anyway,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's all good.
So yeah. So what I was gonna ask you before is that because for one, Rob, I just want to let you know that you're actually the first ever wide receiver that we've ever had on the show. So I just want
Okay.
to give you our flowers for that. So it's a hell
Uh,
of an achievement for us. But you
okay.
also had another role in Chuck Knox's system. You were also known as a kick returner and a punt returner. Which
Yes.
role to you felt more natural to play?
Probably kickoff return. When I was at Baylor, I never ran back punts or kickoffs. I remember when I was in high school, we played. I ran back punts for like 2 weeks, and we played this team, Duncanville Panthers. And I dropped 2 punts in that game, so that was the end of my career. I can go all day and catch any ball you threw me with one hand all day long. And I used to do that all day long, right? But for some
Yeah.
reason, looking up like this at them punts, man, I had a hard time judging them sometimes for whatever reason. I don't know why. I never really considered myself to be a punt returner. Once I got the ball, then I could do something with it. I could run and shake and all that kind of stuff. Uh, but I felt more natural running back kickoffs because kickoffs, the ball wasn't kicked so high in the air, and you actually had a chance to catch the ball and look and figure out, pick out a path where you want to run, before you got hit. Like I said, a lot of times with the punts, shoot, you look up, man, and your two guys on the outside supposed to be
Oh yeah.
containing. Hell, they running behind the guys. They supposed to be blocking, chasing after them. I'm like, well, damn, ain't it supposed to be the other way around? Ain't y'all supposed to be in front of them and hit them before they get to me? So, oh man, that was to me. Punt returns were like suicide. Like a kamikaze. I was like, I didn't ask for the job. They gave it to me, but I wanted to play so bad, so I never said anything. I
Yeah.
accepted the role, and probably my worst play in my whole NFL career was when we played the Dolphins one time on Monday night game. It was my first Monday night game. And I sympathize with this kicker for the Raven. My son loves the Raven. The kicker that missed the field goal the other day. I said, hey, homeboy, I've been there and done. I know what that feels like. But we was playing the Dolphins. And I remember my first Monday night game. And I remember I was back for a punt. And I lined up. Reggie Roby was the punter. This dude could hit the damn moon. He kicked the ball so damn high, right? But they would tell you to line up on the 10-yard line. And they said if you have to take a step back, let the ball go, because more than likely if it goes inside the 10, it's gonna roll into the end zone. Well, I was like, the hell with that. First mistake. I said, this is my first Monday night game. I don't give a damn where they kick the ball. I'm finna be like, remember Tony Dorsett ran that 99-yard touchdown back? You remember that one?
Mm. Yeah,
Huh?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I
for a
believe
while
so.
he had the longest touchdown, 99 yards. Well, I was getting ready to either equal his record or break his record because
Right.
like I said, I know all my buddies were watching back home and that type of thing. Anyway, make a long story short, I dropped the damn ball and the Dolphins recovered it, and oh man, that was like the worst feeling in the. I felt so bad. So it was just a straight up bonehead play, right? And what was funny about it, my roommate Dennis Gentry was playing with the Chicago Bears. He's running back punts too. It was our rookie year, our first year. And man, I got home, the phone was ringing. I was so depressed. I wouldn't even pick up the phone. I'd pick it up and I'd hang it back up. I didn't want to hear who was on the other end. I'd take it off the hook and let it just, just back the old phones back in the day. But anyway, at one point I picked it up and I just held it to my ear. I ain't saying anything. I'm just listening. The guy on the other end is just laughing his ass off, right? So
Mhm.
I finally said, I found out who was it? And it was Gentry, my college roommate. Okay, so anyway, we talked and made me feel bad. I was glad I took his phone call. So the next week, it was a team playing two teams. I don't remember who it was, but they cut into the game to show uh, they punted the ball to the Chicago Bears. I knew Dennis was running back punts. And I said, for them to cut into the middle of this game, I said, he must have ran it all the way back for a touchdown. All right. Well, his ass dropped the ball inside the 10-yard line too. And I was doubting his number. I said, yeah, my week was last, but you calling me, give me a hard time about dropping inside the 10. So I couldn't wait to get on the phone and call him and give him a hard time because he had done the exact same thing that I did. But anyway, man, kickoffs, kickoffs, I love punts. I let one of you two guys, y'all can run them punts back. The hell with them
Oh,
damn
I
punts.
can tell you, it's like getting crushed in the ribs, and there you go on the punt.
I was
At
lucky though.
least
Yeah.
though,
I never took a direct shot, so I was lucky with that, But
well,
I
it
did.
wasn't. I was gonna say, at least it's not as bad as I don't know if you saw it this year. The game against the Buccaneers with McCole Harbin. I think it was his first game with the Bills. There was a punt return. I think it was in the third quarter. He called a fair catch and he ends up dropping the ball. And since then, he hasn't played in like 3 games, and now he's on the practice squad. If you haven't seen it, I think you would feel a lot better about it.
Well, I
I
sympathize
think.
with those guys. I sympathize with those guys. Like I said, I'm watching the Ravens the other day, my little boy, and he loves them, and it just killed him to see the kicker missed that field goal at the end of the game, 44 yards, whatever it was. And but anyway, like I said,
Oh yeah.
and he was a rookie, just like I was when
Yep.
he
Tyler
dropped.
Luke.
Yeah, man, that dude dropped his head. I could have shed tears for him because, like I said, dude, I know what that feels like. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you. I never got a chance to redeem myself because I got hurt after that, and well, I said next year I was leading receiver going last preseason game. I tore my knee up, so I never got a chance to redeem myself. But this guy, hopefully, he'll get a chance. I was just telling this story a little while ago to somebody about Gary Anderson. I don't know if y'all remember him or not,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Definitely.
Gary got drafted the same year I did. He we did the rookie show, and for the rookie show, they make all the rookies get out there and do dumb stuff and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, he impersonated Chuck Knox. He had a pill on his shirt like he had a big gut, and he's had like a cigar. He's smoking a cigar, and he's talking like Coach Knox and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, they end up getting rid of Gary Anderson. They cut his ass, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
Gary Anderson went on to become the all-time lead kicker in the history of the NFL. So he got a chance to redeem himself, and I hope this kid for the Ravens, he's just right. I hope he gets that opportunity as well, to chance to redeem yourself because that's what it's all about. People
Yeah.
remember you. A lot of time they remember your last play. They don't remember your worst play. They remember like your last play, whatever your last
Right.
play was. So
Yeah.
hopefully he'll get
Absolutely.
hopefully he'll get that opportunity. So
For
Absolutely.
sure.
So I was gonna ask you as well, is that after you retired from football, because obviously you had a short stint in the NFL. I mean, I don't wish that upon anybody, but
no,
obviously
sir,
you would
not
have
for
loved to
long.
play long.
NFL, not for long. That's what it stands for.
Yeah,
Not for long.
no. But at least you were there though. But after playing in the NFL, you pursued art history and eventually getting a master's in education. What
Yeah.
sparked your interest in the arts of teaching?
Well, my mother was but it's about everybody in my family. My mother, my aunts and uncles. My mother has a school named after her, and I just thought of something else funny. But she has a school named after her in Arlington, Texas. She was the first black administrator in Arlington, Texas.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
the stuff. Yeah. So my whole family, man, I remember when I ended up going to after I heard everybody back then, you think that you're gonna play professional football for 10, 15 years, be a millionaire, never have to work again. I didn't know I was gonna be 66 years old, still working, but that's like I said, that's part of it. But you dream this big house and all these fancy cars, but like I said, it doesn't work out that way for a lot of people. Like they say, NFL, not for long. My average career is like 4 years. But I remember after I tore my knee up in Buffalo, when I was at Baylor. Man, I was not a very good student, and when I became an administrator, assistant principal at the high school, I used to talk to my athletes about this all the time. Got to have something to fall back on. You never know. You can't. It's no guarantee you're gonna make it to the NFL, and there's no guarantee that even if you do make it, that you're gonna have longevity. You might play 1 year, 2 years, whatever, and it's all over with. So I shared that with them. But I remember I ended up going when I was at Baylor. Man, I remember my last semester at Baylor. The first 3 years, they made us stay in an athletic dormitory. And our
Mhm.
senior year, we got to move off campus. Well, that was a big mistake because they shouldn't have let me move on because they didn't even see me. All I want to know is what time was football practice. I didn't even go to class. But I remember my last year, man, I made all F's and one D, right? And I said, yeah, I used to tell people, I said, to this day, I'm still trying to figure out how I made that D because I ain't even go to class. I don't even know how the hell I made I ain't made a D. But I went to ended up when I tore my knee up and I couldn't play anymore. I ended up going to the college. It was all black college, HBCU, Purview A&M University,
Okay.
and that's where my mother graduated from, and my uncles and all them. And I went down there and pursued my degree. And it still took me a while to get on the right track. I still had a little money in my pocket. It was during the off season. I still wasn't serious about going to school. But I had a professor. I won't say who the professor was. We took a test one day. The door slammed, and oh man, professor went off. It was all black school, so all of us was black. So we
Mhm.
get around, we throw the N word around a little bit, because it's
Right.
just
Yeah.
man. This teacher called us the oh my god, you blanks, you okay. I was at
Mhm.
Baylor. I said, well, ain't none of my white professors that ever called me no. So that kind of
Right.
that got
Right.
that got my attention. I was on the edge of my seat and I felt so bad. And I remember when the professor finally stopped talking, I waited. I let everybody else leave, and I was the last one. I went up to the professor and I told him, I said, you know what? I can't speak for everybody else. I can only speak for myself. But I said, from this point on, you don't have to worry about me. I said, I'm gonna pass all your tests, da da da. And from that point, I made all A's, which proved to
Mhm.
myself that I was just lazy and nonchalant and really wasn't that serious about school. But once I made up my mind, I was probably one of the top students there on that campus. But anyway, like I said, my all my people, parents and everybody, for the most part, they were educators. My mother had me in school, Tommy B. Williams Elementary School, which is in Arlington, Texas. Um, and that's pretty much. And I always I majored. I used to draw and paint all the time. I still do every now and then. I don't have the chance to do as much as I would like to because I'm working and my kids. I coach my son's basketball team, football team, our little league teams, and all that kind of stuff. So I don't have the time to do that as much as I used to. But I used to do that all the time as well. Uh, I got all these funny stories running through my head. But I'll tell you one. I got kicked out of a art class at Baylor. Right, I had to go talk to the dean.
Mhm.
We had all other colleges. They have nude models. Okay,
Okay.
Baylor Baptist School. So our models had to wear bikinis. That we didn't have that luxury. But anyway, we had this professor one time. He overemphasized. He said, "I want you to just extenuate. I want you to just whatever you see. I want you to just overemphasize it." Well, hell, he didn't tell me but once, right?
Mhm.
So every, he pulled me to the side. He said that's not what I meant. I said, anyway, how can I put
Oh
this?
my.
I just come out and say she hadn't shaven like she needed to shave or whatever. So I just
Ah,
know. But anyway, yeah,
okay.
I had to go talk to the dean. Got kicked out the art class and all. That's kind of I used to do a bunch of silly stuff. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. I had to go talk to the dean, and anyway, that. But like I said, you know that's how that was my thing for education. I was always into art, and as far as so I was an art major, and then I minored in PE physical education because I had an
Mhm.
athletic background, and
Yeah.
that's how I was able to spent all those years in education, and eventually, went back and got my master's degree. I've written a few books. I have a book. Did y'all know I wrote a book?
So actually, that's news to me because even though I looked at a lot of things prior, I didn't realize that you did. So that's actually really cool.
Yeah, I have a novel on Amazon, and the novel is called Lead Me Not Into Temptation." I can find it on my own. And a lot of people thought it was about football. It has absolutely nothing to do with football. But anyway, I'm trying to get it. Oh, this is good. I hope Josh Allen, if you're watching this, dude, I'm trying to plug my book.
Yeah,
When I went to
absolutely.
Buffalo, I took a couple of my novels with me, and I was hoping to get them to Josh Allen,
Mhm.
right? You know who
Ooh.
his wife? You know who his wife? You know who his wife
But
is?
yeah, Haley
Haley
Steinfeld, and they were
Steinfeld.
expecting it.
Right. And she was in Sinners with Michael B. Jordan and all that kind of stuff. So I was
Mhm.
hoping that I could get a book to Josh Allen, and Josh Allen could pass on his wife, and she would consider it for a screenplay adaptation. That's what I was hoping. So
Nice.
You
anyway,
know
I
what
didn't
you
get.
could
I didn't.
do?
Well,
You know what you could do?
was that?
Because I know you're teammates with Jeff Nixon. He's the president of the Buffalo
I
Bills
already
alumni.
talked. I already talked to Nixon. I've talked to Nixon
Oh,
several times. Yeah, Nixon is one of the
Awesome.
ones on our thread as well. Nixon doesn't know. He doesn't know Josh well enough to get that close to him.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, I already talked to
yeah.
Jeff. I talked to Jeff, and
Yeah.
man, but I tell you what, if you come up with somebody else, you let me know, and I'll put my novel in the mail. And all I want to do is put it in the hand, Josh Allen, put in his hand, so he can, like I said, show it to his wife, and hopefully she'll be receptive to. It's a good novel, man. It's a
Yeah.
good novel.
You know,
It's on.
you
Yeah.
just you just gave me a thought here. Actually,
What's that?
I'd like to pick it up online, and if it's cool with you, I'd love to ship it to you. And if you want to sign it and autograph all that stuff, hey, it's all
I'll
good.
be. I'll
Love to
be.
have it here in my office.
I'd be more than happy to do that. I'd be more than happy. Yep.
Cool. Yeah, we appreciate
But
that. And
yeah.
yeah, and Nixon we did have on recently too.
Oh,
So
Jeff
he's
was
been
on
here
there.
before. Yeah, he's
Jeff,
been
he's
here
some.
once before. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Jeff was
but
Jeff was a hell. Jeff was a hell of a football player. Hell
mhm.
of a football
Oh
player.
yeah.
Same thing happened to him. I think he tore his knees up too, just like all the rest of
Yeah,
us.
he ended up hurt and shortened
Yeah,
his
yeah.
career too. And just
'Cause he had one game where he had like 3 interceptions in one game, and fumble recovery also in that game. And yeah, he was a damn good football player. Damn good. But anyway, like I said, man, you just never know what God has in store for you. And
yeah,
you just try to
absolutely.
do the best with the God given talent that's given to you. And I said, man, even like when I was assistant principal in the high school, I used to get football players now. Sometimes they get written up for disciplinary reasons. They come to my office, and I just had to lay into them. I talk to them about the talent they have, and where you could take this talent to the next level, collegiate, maybe professional, whatever. And some of them did. I'm like, dude, you supposed to be the role model, like, for the whole school. The example for the whole school. And people look up to y'all, look up to athletes. I know I was an athlete myself once upon a time. You can't be going around here, cursing teachers and fighting and doing all this. That's not gonna get you to where you're trying to go. You have to make sacrifices. You have to change your priorities. And I tell them, I said, I still remember when people used to ask me what did I want to do. I said, I want to play pro football. I still remember when I quit saying that. It's not saying I want to play pro football. I said, I'm going to play pro football, and I'm going to do whatever it takes for me to get there. And tell them, like Malcolm X, you say, by any means necessary, whatever it is. Some of your friends you have to let go. Because a lot of them
Yeah,
just there just to try to bring you down. A lot of them just haters. They act like they want to see you reach that level, but they really don't. Like misery loves company. If they can't make it, they don't want to see you make it either. But
right.
you got to be in tune with all that, and you can't, you know, you can't give away or whatever the talent that God gave you. I mean, that could have easily been given to somebody else. You got to take advantage of it, and milk it for all it's worth. So, but you know, some of them listened, some of them didn't. Some of them still in jail, right? I'm just joking. I did have a few of them that went to jail. They still in there now. Their
Or
parents used to blame me for everything. I told one day they're gonna get in trouble. You're not gonna be able to blame Mr. Holt. You better
right,
place the blame where it lies, and make your kid take responsibility for what he's doing. Because one day he's gonna get in trouble, and you ain't gonna be able to go down at the police station and talk to them like you come here and talk to me and think the police officer gonna let him out. And some of them, they still right there, they behind bars. I say, okay, whatever. Didn't listen to me. Then. maybe when you get out, you'll, you know, change your tune or whatever, and try to do what's right. So yeah.
Absolutely, and I want to say, of course, coming down to the tail end of the conversation today too. We're down to our last two, but of course, I
Okay.
just want to say we got to have you back here sometime because I mean we'd love to hear some more stories and definitely talk with you some more. But one of the things I wanted to ask, and just kind of building on your background in education, how did your NFL experience influence the way that you taught or mentored young people?
It allowed me to put my foot in some kids' ass. Is that what you?
I love that
You know
answer.
what, man?
I
Great.
love it.
Huh? I'm gonna tell you this.
Mhm.
I got a lot of stories. I got to tell you. At the school where I am now. We gave out some awards the other day. They had a Chatty Cathy
Mhm.
award, which I did not know, and I won a damn Chatty Cathy award. I was pissed off about that. I'm like, no, 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 hell no. I said, y'all gonna change that Chatty Charlie or something? I know Chatty Cathy. Hell, I didn't. But anyway, I'm gonna tell you this. I was the enforcer, right? And for a lot of kids, especially a lot of kids that came from home, they didn't have a father figure, in the house. And they were accustomed to just running over their mother and doing whatever the hell they want, or they live with their grandparents or whatever. Well, my philosophy was at some point, that's not a true depiction of life. That's not how life
Mhm.
works. You don't get to just steamroll your way over everybody. And man, I had 8 fights when I was at the high school, and I used to tell them kids, I said, I'm just like Floyd Mayweather. I'm undefeated. I said, I damn myself, if y'all want to start some shit today, let's go. I said, but I tell you what, when I walk out that door my last day, I still plan on being undefeated. And I would just
Mhm.
say, give them one liners like that just to kind of, make the eyebrows rise and, get their
Yep.
attention. But I mean, you get mileage out of that. And at some point, I tell people it's like breaking a horse. Some of these kids so used to just, like I said, just accustomed to just running, elementary school, middle school, and whatever, and just running out. No, 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 no. My thing was, and we used to use corporal punishment. You know what that is with the board, right?
Oh
With the
yeah.
power. Okay.
Yep.
Well, if a parent told me that, I don't want my son or my kid, daughter, whatever, to get swats with a board, I'm not gonna touch it. But if they said, yeah, I want my kid rather than sit in a in school suspension a room all day long because they're not learning anything in school suspension, they're getting worksheets all day long. Like, if they the three of us, me, the parent, the adult, the parent, and the kid, the three of us, never would I let a kid overrule that situation because I didn't want them to think that he can get loud and boisterous and all that kind of stuff. And both of the adults are going, no, no, no. If they said you're gonna get your ass popped with this board, damn it, that's what's getting ready to happen. If I got to hold you down or whatever, to get your attention, that's what I did.
Mhm.
Uh, I had a kid one time went to his house and busted his ass. I call that a home visit. Yeah, he used to come in there, and his parents they didn't want him to be in school suspension. They said, "No, he gets swats." He came in there one day, and we tussle and all that kind of stuff, and have to hold him down. And one day I just didn't feel like it. I said, "You gonna take your swats today?" And he said, "Man, I ain't taking no swats." I said, "Oh, you know what? That's all right." So I let him go back. I let him go to class, and what I did at the end of the day, before the last bell rang, I went and got him. I had my board in my back pocket. I put him in my
Mhm.
car. He was gonna get on the bus. I said, "No, you ain't riding the bus today. You riding with me." We went back in my neighborhood, black neighborhood I grew up in, Dalworth, and his uncle and dad and all of us sitting on the front porch. We got out the car and they asked me, they said, "What did he do today?" I don't remember what it was, but anyway, make a long story short, we went in the back bedroom. His dad had him in a headlock like this, and his uncle he was sealing his leg, and I took my board out of my back pocket and commenced to whooping that ass with it. But but you know what though, man? You know what? You know what though? These kids
Mhm.
look. I got a lot of these kids like on my Facebook page and stuff like that, right? To this day, and man, these kids they thank me, and man, I don't know what was wrong with me back then. I was out of control, and da da da. And I appreciate you because you the one that got me back on the right track and all that kind of stuff. And all kids want to be disciplined. Just they
Mhm.
want discipline, and the majority of the kids most kids respect you. I say it's two things. I say either they respect you or they fear you. And you want kids to respect you. Most of them did because I've been there PE teacher when they were in elementary school, so I knew them when they were kids.
Right.
A little bit. They said, "Well, we like you better when you was a PE teacher than we do when you when you were a principal." Yeah, because I'm popping that ass every day with this board. But what's black dude? What's black man? What's the movie? Uh, Oh, I can't think his name now. Had the baseball bat.
Oh
Oh,
God, I know what you're
oh,
talking about, but I
Yeah,
forget the name of the
Morgan
movie. I know
Freeman.
what you're talking about though.
Morgan Freeman played for.
ah,
I can't remember. Anyway, but anyway, a lot of them, they respect it. And like I said, most of them respect you outright. But if they didn't, hey, you had to create a little fear there in order to get their attention. So, yeah, I've done a lot of stuff, man. And like I said, looking back on it, playing football, college football, pro football, education for 30 years, PE teacher, administrator, writing books, painting, drawing, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I've had a lot of experience, even like now raising my kids and being able to coach their teams and all that kind of stuff. So, I don't have any regrets. A lot of things didn't go the way that I would like for it to have gone. And that's anybody,
yeah,
nobody's going to get through life and everything's hunky dory and goes exactly the way, would like for it to go or whatever. But uh, can I leave you with one story?
yeah, absolutely.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna leave
go
you with
ahead.
just one story. This kind of put everything in perspective for me, right?
Yeah,
So, and I've done stand. As a matter of fact, I did 2 stand-up comedy shows here the past couple of weeks. I'm getting back into that too. So I've done quite a few things.
nice.
But anyway, when I was at the high school, I had this kid. Won't say his name.
Mhm.
He had gotten in trouble, and his dad came up. His dad had adopted him. A foster dad had adopted him, and anyway, the father came. This guy was a youth minister. He came up to the school and he told me, he said, you know what? He said, I tell you what, when this kid come back to school the next day, he said, you're gonna see a totally different kid. He said, I'll take care of him when we get home. Oh man, I thought that dude was the best thing since sliced bread, right? Because I wasn't accustomed to that. I have parents come in, I don't care what their kids did, they always want to blame me. Why you sending my kid to alternative school? Why you da 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 da? I'm like, I wasn't even there when the incident took place. So I don't know why
Sure.
you feel like you can blame me, put the blame on me. You need to be putting it on your kid. But anyway, I thought this man was the best thing since sliced bread. But anyway, what happened was he had uh this other kid. He invited him over to spend the night, and I had him when he was a special needs kid. I had him when he was in elementary school too. I was his PE
Yeah.
teacher, so I had been knowing this kid all his life, right? But anyway, when he got up to high school, they had this other kid that spent the night with him, and what happened was this guy who's a youth minister tried to sexually abuse this boy that spent the night, that was invited to spend the night. So the boy brought it to light. He's the one that told what was going on, and come to find out, this guy had been sexually abusing his foster son, you know, ever since he was a little bit kid. And he had been enduring that. He never said anything. Good thing that, like I said, his friend brought it to light. And because, like I said, I think at that point, it might have still been going on. But anyway, when shit hit the fan or whatever, everybody found out what was going on, youth minister, all that kind of stuff, he took the easy way out. The dad, he ended up committing suicide, he killed himself, right?
Oh,
Okay.
So this is about a year. This kid had graduated, I guess about a year had gone by. He graduated. I'm sitting in my office, and I hear somebody walk through the door, and I look up, and this kid walks up through my door. And man, I felt so bad. Like I said, I thought his dad was the best thing since sliced bread. I was on the day. I didn't know all this stuff was going on. And oh man, he said, what he said? He said, how are you doing, Mr. Holt? That's what he said. He said, how are you doing, right?
Mhm.
And man, I felt so bad. I said, you know what, man? I said, if anything, I said, I need to ask you that question. How are you doing, right? You know
Mhm.
what this kid told me? Just a year after he graduated from high school. He told me, he said, you know what? He said, Mr. Holt, I'm doing good now. He said, you know what? He said, the best day of my life was when my dad killed himself.
wow.
Oh man.
Holy fuck.
That hit I couldn't fathom that. I couldn't imagine. I
Right.
love my parents. I had a stepdad, I had 2 dads, and I couldn't even fathom
Mhm.
that being the
Yeah.
best day of my life was that's you know I just could that I it man I almost broke down and I felt so bad. But it let you know what that kid was going through.
Yeah.
It also made me realize that a lot of these kids that we label as bad kids in school because they get in trouble all the time. You got to check their
Mhm.
baggage. Look into their baggage. You
Right.
don't know what these kids are, what kind of baggage they're bringing to school with them, and what they're are having to go through and doing. And it made me take a step back. From that point on, when kids were getting written up and sent to the office and all that kind of stuff, I couldn't just go with what was written on the referral with the teacher. This kid did this, da 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 da. I had to take a step back and talk to the kid and try to find out, dig a little deep and find out, what is it that, why are you acting this way, acting out, and that type of thing. So, but anyway, man, like I said, I've had a good life, Hopefully we can get a few more years out of it.
Yep, of
But
course.
yeah. Like I said, next year I'll be, so we getting there, we getting on up there, but
Yep.
trying to get a few more.
Yep.
But
I know my niece reminded me this year. She's like, "Oh, this year you're gonna be such and such." I'm like, "Don't remind me."
hey man, you know
Tom,
what? But it's a blessing.
Tom, let it be known forever. And Robert, you're a witness to this. Tom, just let it be known you are an old fuck, no matter what is your
Well,
just wait till your son reminds you when you have your son in March.
Well, how old are you? Oh, you got one. You got a little one on the way.
Yeah,
well, Bob does. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
congratulations.
33.
You
Thank
33?
you.
See,
Yeah,
I'm old enough to be. I'm old enough to be your daddy and your granddaddy. Both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'm in my early
congratulations.
40s. I'm 43.
Yeah, same with you. But congratulations on your son. Though. You have any other kids?
No, this is my first one. This is
Oh,
our
man.
first child. We're having a little
Okay.
boy in mid-March around St. Patrick's Day week.
There you go. Nice. Okay. That's good, man. That's good. I'll tell you this too. I have a daughter. I have two daughters. I have one 30-year-old. She's in New York. Well, she's in France. She just moved to France. She's doing unbelievable stuff. She wrote a book. She's on all these late night television shows, CBS, NBC, ABC, all this kind of stuff. Al Roker and all these people. She's a journalist. She interviews people like Beyonce and all these people, right?
Oh, cool.
So I read this article she did. Well, I think it was Rolling Stone magazine, one of them. And I read some stuff about Beyonce I hadn't heard of before, and I was asking. I said, Brie, I said, you just making this stuff up or what? She said, Dad, I was on the phone with her for like over 2 hours. I was like, so excuse me then, So I like, but she's big time, man. She just sold a screenplay for quite a substantial amount of money. I won't say how much, but she's oh man, this girl, she's doing unbelievable. And I said all three of my kids got something from her. The 30-year-old got my writing abilities, my son, my athletic abilities, and my little one, Dahlia, she's an artist. She loves to draw and paint, dance, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I said. All three of them got some aspects. So, but ain't nothing
really
like
cool.
what I was gonna say when I had my girls. I remember I had my first daughter. I always thought I never really wanted a boy because I didn't want them, feel like they had to follow in my footsteps and all that kind of stuff. And
Sure.
well, your daddy did this, and you're not the same person your daddy was. But man, this kid's been the joy of my life. All three of them, but this one, to have a son, somebody that looks just like you and acts like you, and to go to the games and stand on the sidelines and watching this kid run 9 touchdowns in one game. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I was in more shock than anybody else in the, but I mean, so your boy, you gonna love it.
Yeah,
You
I
gonna
am
love it.
definitely excited for that for sure. No doubt
Yeah,
about it.
you gonna love it. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
all kids are a blessing and a joy. What about you? You got kids?
So none biologically, but my former girlfriend, I am dad to her daughter because
Okay.
unfortunately her biological dad decided to not even stay in the picture
You
from
got
the
a
very
lot of those.
beginning. But
You
you
got a
know
lot
what?
of those,
She's gonna be but she's gonna be turning 8 in February, and a good relationship. And
Very
even
good.
though me and my ex are not together, I mean we're still on good terms, and
Yeah.
and we still do what we can for her, and
Yeah, that's
and that's
good,
a
man.
good thing. And you
Yeah.
know what? And it works out because she's got the father figure now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd rather have her learn from me, which is a good thing. Still get to do a lot of things together, and we're still on good terms, and and that's a good thing. We managed to make it work out. And her, she loves it. I mean, it's one of those things. She loves the time together, and especially being able to go out and do different things. And thinking of getting her to her first games now that she's old enough. And it's like, you know what, it's a good thing. So she absolutely loves it. And of course, and Bob can tell you actually a couple times when I've been in New York City, it's like going to the Met store and bring back some stuff for her, or different things, and she loves it. So
That's
it'll be
good.
good. And actually, they only live about 20 minutes from me, so it actually
Okay.
makes it real easy.
Nice.
So it's a good thing. But at some point, we'll see what happens. But it's still, at least it's nice to have that influence. So
Hey, it's
either
good.
way.
It's good. It's good that you're there. All kids need positive role models in their life. You said a dad abandoned her or whatever, but it's good that you stepped
Yeah.
up because I mean you need male and female. That's what I think.
Mhm. Yeah.
But 'cause both have a lot to offer, not just any male or female. You need people
Mhm.
who are good role models for the kids. Somebody the
Yeah.
kids can emulate and grow up to try to become. So that's good, man.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah. She's got the funny side from her mom, and she's got the sassy side from her, and then she's got the down to earth side from me, and we kind of play off of each other really well. So it's a good thing, and plus she loves football and hockey, so I'm like, thank you God for that.
Yeah.
So
Is
she
that
loves
is
it.
Is
She
that why
loves
you
it.
and the mom? Is that why you and the mom not together anymore? Because the sass. No, I'm just joking. I'm
No,
just joking.
no, no,
I'm
no.
just joking. I'm not getting into your
It's
business.
all
You
good. It's
don't. You
all
don't. I
good.
don't even want you to answer that question. I was just joking. I was just joking.
No worries.
I
No,
was
but
just
it
joking.
actually it's good though. I mean, me and her get along fine, and no
Yeah,
problems,
that's
even with
good, man.
splitting up. So
Very good.
it's good. It's good.
Very good. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Absolutely.
right.
So yeah. So before we get to the last question, Robert, we just want to say on behalf of I-86 After Dark, me and Tom just want to say thank you from the bottom of our heart for coming on tonight. It is an
Oh
absolute blast having you and just hearing all these crazy stories,
yeah.
and we just love every minute of it.
Y'all got a free show because when I went to my comedy show, I charged people to come and hear these stories. I was just joking. But no,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to help you guys out and see if we can't get some of the other guys. The guys, big name guys, had better careers than I did. Rob Riddick, me and Riddick tight with each other. Byron Franklin,
Awesome.
Jared Butler, Joe Cribbs, all of us. So I'm gonna
Very cool.
excuse me, try to see if I can. I
Yeah.
know some of them will, some of them will. So I'm gonna be more than happy to to come on your show. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
Oh
awesome. We
yeah.
appreciate that.
yeah.
Would be a huge
So
help. So
okay.
the Yeah. So the question I was going to ask you is from looking back in your career and then being a comedian and then being a phys ed teacher and all that, what is one piece of advice that you wish someone had given you when you were playing professional football, and how would you pass that on to someone in that position today?
Oh, when I was playing professional football, you know what, man? Oh, and I tell my kids this all the time. I coach little league team, and
Mhm.
I encourage my kids to make mistakes, right? Especially in
Yeah.
basketball. I got my kids out there trying to dribble between their legs and all that kind of stuff, and I hear coaches yelling at them because their ball will go out of bounds or whatever, and I'm like, no, 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 no. I want you to try to do that because if I yell at you and to the point to where you're afraid to try it again, you'll never learn how to do it. So I don't have a problem with you. The only thing I ask is that try to go between your legs, dribbling the ball or whatever goes out of bounds. Just try to figure it out. How next time when you do it, the ball doesn't end up out of bounds. Try to figure out how to make it work. But that would probably be my thing. I think one of my probably my worst day was the day I got injured playing against we was playing against Redskins. I dropped the ball. I didn't drop balls. Like I said, I could go through practice all day catching every ball with one hand. But and I kind of knew I was gonna drop it. Uh I've been having, you stay on the field and any kink in your armor, keep
Mhm.
working on it until you work that kink out. Well, running, if you're right-handed, a ball come over your head, whether you see it at the last minute or whatever, to me it's an easy catch. Looking back like this. But if it's come over the left side for whatever reason, your hand, I see it all the time with football. I see a lot of little bitty stuff that other people don't see. But it's the adjustment of your hand, and that's something that you have to work on over and over and over again. Reps, more reps until you become instinctive. Until you don't even think about it anymore, you just make that catch. I hadn't gotten to that point. And I remember it was a deep pass, and we broke the huddle. They called on the left side, and I was still struggling, kind of like Tiger Woods when he's playing golf, and he said he had to take a step back to correct his swing or whatever. That's what I was going through. And some in me told me I was going to drop that ball before it even came to me. And it came over. If it had come towards the middle, I would have seen it the whole way, easy catch. But I didn't see it until it came like right over the top of my helmet, and it was coming so fast. I didn't get my hands up in time to make the catch. I didn't drop balls. So when I dropped, I was devastated, and that just ruined me for like the rest of the game. I mean, I could hear the people in the stands booing. I had never been booed before. Uh, like I said, I encourage my kids to make a mistake. Had it been one of my
Yeah.
kids, I had a kid on my little league team drop balls, and dad was chewing them out and all that kind. I said, dude, he ain't gonna be no good to me for the rest of the game. He dropped the ball. He's what 9, 10 years old. He got guys in the NFL that drop balls. I mean, they get paid for it. So I mean, he's all right. Just back off a little bit and let him just. And the very next play, I came to him again. I made sure my quarterback, my son, threw him a ball or eat like a hitch or something easy where I knew he wanted just kind of
Yeah.
redeem himself, build himself back up. But that to me was a lesson that, oh my gosh, I think it had also played a part in ending my career because, like I said, I ended up getting hurt in that game. The one I got hurt on, I ran a fade route. And I had my hands up and I was already frustrated. And I went to catch the ball, and the ball hit my face mask and ricocheted off. And I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe the game I was in. I was like, this is fucking ridiculous, right? But
Right.
before I even came back down on the ground, Mark Murphy hit me while I was in the air, and my leg was kind of like whiplash. I felt it before I even hit the ground, and I torn my anterior cruciate ligament. Cut you open back then. Nowadays, arthroscopic surgery. They don't do that anymore. Put me in a cast for 11 weeks. They don't do that anymore, and it just pretty much ruined my whole career. But all that stemmed from me dropping that one pass. Whereas what I should have done, hindsight's 2020, I should have just turned around and made a routine catch like I always do. I could have turned around and caught it with two hands. I could have turned around and caught it with one hand. But for whatever reason, I was trying to adjust and make
Sure.
that catch. So
Yeah.
that's one thing I look back on is people that make mistakes. You're gonna make like a kicker, like I say for the Ravens the other day, you're gonna make mistakes. But I remember Frank Lewis, he was a veteran then. He was like 35 years. Frank told me, he said, rookie. He come, he said, Rook, you can't keep harping on that. He said, it's over with. He said, nothing you can do to get that back. That's done. That's a done deal. He said, you need to pick yourself off the ground and move on from that. But that's what I would tell anybody else. Mistakes are going to happen. You're never going to play a perfect game, but you cannot let a mistake get to the point where it derail the rest of your game. For that game, where you just don't play well anymore as a result of that one little mistake you make. And really, the only person that's putting that burden on you is yourself, because your teammates are gonna rally around you and they're gonna try to pick you up. They're not gonna, just like the kicker the other day, Harbaugh, head coach, he walked that kid in the locker room the whole time. Trying to
Yeah.
console,
Yeah.
trying to console
Tyler
him and
Lewis.
that type thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you tear yourself down internally. You tear yourself down. But that would be my advice. Just like I said, if you're a coach, like I was saying, encourage your kids to make mistakes, because you have to in order to learn and grow. You can't be stagnant and just do the same thing all the time. Learn how to catch the ball with one hand. Learn how to all kinds. But you're gonna drop a whole lot of one-handed balls before you get to the point where you start making that catch. In basketball, the ball you're gonna mess up trying to dribble between your leg behind your back, but you're gonna have to keep doing it over and over and over again in order to learn the proper way to do it. So that would be my advice to give to like coaches and guys playing football.
That's awesome.
Now.
Yeah.
So
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, I was gonna say I think we've had you longer than anybody on our show,
yeah,
so
I'm looking,
which is a
man. I
good
got a
thing. But I
I
gotta
got a
tell you,
science.
it's
I got a science project over there. I'm supposed to be working on for my daughter. So I'm gonna have to get.
but
Yeah,
I will say, for the last almost hour and a half, it has been a hell of a great time having you here,
yeah.
and
Y'all have to
we
come. Y'all have to come to
appreciate
my
it.
comedy show, man. Next time
Yeah,
I have a
let us
comedy show,
know.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
do. I'm gonna do one online and post it online. I got to be
yeah,
careful with it though, because I don't want to. I can't get too wild. Then somebody get fired. Get
well,
fired from my
well,
job. They be like, "Man,
right,
he
right.
said," So I tone it down a little bit. But
Oh,
anyway,
I gotcha.
yeah,
Although it
yeah.
is funny though, because
Yeah.
if you
Fair
ever
enough.
check out our show, we do have the disclaimer that basically does say it's viewer discretion advised. It's an
Ah,
adult
I try
show,
to keep
so
it clean. I try to keep it clean for the most part. It's probably my cleanest interview I've done to date. So, but anyway, it was
but
fun. I
yeah,
enjoyed talking to you guys.
absolutely.
It was a lot
Absolutely.
of
It
fun.
was great having you here, and certainly we'd love to have you back in the future. And
I get back.
and feel free to drop by anytime. It'd be a blast.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm gonna shoot you
Good
some
talk.
stuff. I probably won't get it to you until tomorrow, but I got some stuff that I'm gonna send to you.
Absolutely.
And
Definitely.
we'll
That's
see about
awesome.
we'll see about getting some of those other bills on y'all's show as well.
All right. Sounds good.
Mhm.
Sounds good. Well, thanks again. We got Robert Radar Holt, former Bills wide receiver, Baylor standout. Thanks again for coming on. We appreciate it.
All right, man. Y'all take it easy. Y'all enjoy the rest of the evening.
You too.
You
You
too.
too.
All
Thank
right.
you.